the Chola, Pandya and Chera, that is Kerala now place. The southern end of Indian peninsula situated south of Krishna rivers was divided into uh, three kingdoms, that the southern end of the Indian peninsula situated south of the Krishna river was divided into three kingdoms. What was that? That is none other than Chola, Pandya and Chera, that is Kerala. So the Pandya first mentioned by the Pandya was first mentioned by the Megasthenes. The Pandyas are first mentioned by Megasthenes, that is from Greek, that I have told, that Megasthenes who write the account for Ashoka also. I have made a video on that also, you can go through my channel. So who says that their kingdom was celebrated for pearls? Who says that their kingdom was celebrated for pearls, moti. He also speaks of it being ruled by a woman, which suggests some matriarchal influence in Pandya society. That earlier who was matriarchal, which society, which era, like which ruler has the matriarchal form? That Satvana. But in Satvana, like name were coming from the mothers, but the successor was given to the male child only. So it was not true matrilineal. So in the same way, Pandyas are like they have a speaks like they speak of its being ruled by a woman, like ruled by a woman, which suggests some matriarchal influence in the Pandya society. Though Sangam literature we had account of Pandya's ruler, but it does not provide coherent account. So this territory occupied the southernmost and southeastern portion of the Indian peninsula, southeastern portion of the Indian peninsula, and it roughly included the modern districts of Tirunelveli, Ramnad and Madurai in Tamil Nadu, with its capital at Madurai. That this part of the southeast portion that Tamil Nadu is present. So these were of that Pandya. Their state was wealthy and prosperous. The state was wealthy and prosperous, and the reason for this wealth was that spices and all. Even today it is famous. The Pandya kings were profited from trade. The Pandya king were profited from trade with the Roman Empire and sent ambassadors to the Roman Emperor Augustus. Now the Chola kingdom, which came to be called as Cholamandalam, the Chola kingdom, which came to be called as Cholamandalam or Coromandel coast. That I remember that it was earlier the French colony, then British fought it. We will see in the modern history. In early medieval times was situated to the north east of the territory of Pandyas, that is between the Pennar and the Vela river. The Sangam text gives an idea of the political history of Cholas. It seems that in the mid 2nd century BC, a Chola king named Ilara conquered Sri Lanka and ruled over it for nearly 50 years. That through Sangam text we get an idea about the Cholas kingdom, and we in that account we have seen that the Chola king had defeated a ruler of Sri Lanka and it ruled over there for 50 years. A cleared history of Cholas begins in the 2nd century AD with their famous king in Karikala. He founded Puhar and constructed 160 km of embankment along the Kaveri river. This was built with the labor of 12,000 slaves who were brought as captives from Sri Lanka. Puhar is coterminous with Kaveri Patnam, the Chola capital. No need to know about this. So it was a great center of trade and commerce. It was a great center for trade and commerce, and excavation so that it had a large dock. One of the principal sources of wealth of the Cholas was the trade in cotton cloth. They maintained the efficient navy, and under the Karikala successor, Cholas' power rapidly declined. Their two neighboring powers, the Cheras and the Pandyas, expanded at the cost of Cholas. That the two neighboring powers, that is the Cheras and the Pandyas, expanded at the cost of Cholas. That Cholas region were getting declined. So their power was almost wiped out by the attacks of Pallavas from the north. Now the Chera or Kerala, that country, that we call it as a country, the Chera or Kerala country was situated to the west and north of the land of the Pandyas. It included the narrow strip of land between the sea and the mountains and covered portions of both Kerala and Tamil Nadu. Okay. In early century, the Christian era, it was an important as the state of Cholas and the Pandyas and owed its position to the trade of Romans. The history of Cheras is a continuing battle with Cholas and Pandyas. They were continuing battling between them. Although the Cheras killed the father of Chola king Karikala, the Chera king lost his life, and later the two kingdoms temporarily became friends also and concluded a matrimonial alliance. The marriages started between them. The Chera king next allied himself with the Pandya ruler. Now after the Chola king, that after getting friendship with the Chola king, they get allied with the Chera king himself, with the Pandya ruler against the Cholas. The Chera king and the Pandyas get allied against the Cholas, but the Cholas defeated these allies, and it is said that as the Chera king was wounded in the back, he felt shamed and committed suicide, that Chera king, because actually what he did, the Chera king first shake hand with the Chola, and later he joined hand with the Pandya ruler against Cholas. So see, these two again formed himself, and it was like he betrayed the Chola as a friend, and because of this, and ultimately these allies lost the war, and because of the shame, the Chera king committed suicide. So I will write it. The history of Cheras is a continuing battle with the Cholas and Pandyas. Although the Cheras killed the father of the Chola king. See here, he killed the father of Chola king also, Karikala. The Chera king also lost his life. Later, the two kingdoms temporarily became friends, as both were died. Both father was dead and king was also dead. Chera king was also dead. So now they temporarily became friends and concluded a matrimonial alliance. Okay, marriage started between them. Then after, see, the Chera king next allied himself with Pandya also. Against whom? Against Cholas. But this time the Cholas defeated that allies, and it is said that as the Chera king was wounded in the back, he felt ashamed and committed suicide. I have talked about suicide in sociology. I have explained in sociology, so you can watch this thing in my videos also on my channel. So what were the sources of income for this three kingdom? That sources of income for these three kingdom. The principal interest of the political history of these kingdoms lies in the continuing wars they fought with one another and also with Sri Lanka. Although these states were weakened by the wars, they greatly profited from their nature. Actually, they were profiting from the natural resources and the foreign trade. They grew spices, especially pepper, which was in great demand in Western world. Their elephants supplied ivory, which was highly valued in the West for the medicine, for religious purpose and all. The sea yielded pearls. The sea yielded pearls, and their mines produced precious stones, and both of these were exported to the West in substantial quantities. Okay, in addition, they produced muslin and silk also. Okay, and what was the social structure? So the civil and military offices were held under the both Cholas and the Pandavas by rich peasants, and the ruling class was called Arasar, and its member had marriage relation with the Velals, so who formed the fourth caste. No need to remember this. So they held the bulk of land and thus constituted the cultivating class divided into the rich and the poor. The rich did not plough the land themselves but employed laborers to undertake this. Agriculture operations was generally the task of member of lower class, that they started for agriculture and all. Military forces was also taken as the Cholas and Pandavas by the rich peasant, and the agriculture operation was mainly taken by the lower class, whose status appears to have different from that of slave. That is not slave, but they're different from the slave. The pariahs were agriculture laborers who also worked with animals' skin and used them as a mats. For producing mats and all, they were using animals' skins. So there were a sharp social inequality in the Sangam age. The rich lived in the house of bricks and mortar, and the poor in huts and humbler dwellings. In the cities, rich merchants lived in the upper story of the houses. Okay, thank you.